Hi everyone. So today I'm going to discuss about how to develop the life cycle methods, and especially like when you develop your own framework, how we are going to create your own life cycle methods. So most probably you have familiar with different frameworks. Sometimes let's say JSP, servlet, struts, and there are also other Java specific frameworks, sometimes .NET frameworks, and some other programming languages specific frameworks are there. So those frameworks, when we are going to develop, there are some life cycle methods that you have to develop. So there are some tips and tricks that we can consider about, and there are some design patterns basically behind the development of the life cycle method. Sometimes you may have heard about there is a pattern called template method. So we can use to develop the life cycle methods. So I will simply explain one life cycle method, how we can develop your own life cycle methods. So let me implement simple life cycle methods. Let's say being the framework developer, so I'm going to develop a simple life cycle method. Let's say I'm going to create a class. I'm going to create my life cycle. So okay, let me do some small changes. Let's say, so I'm going to create so in when you are going to develop your own life cycle, that you can create your class my life cycle. So let's say you have three methods. Public, let's say you are going to implement a simple method called start, and okay, this is start method. And let's say you are going to develop so this is your service method. And I'm going to create another method called stop. As simple as that, that you have only three methods that you are going to execute according to a life cycle. So that's what we are going to do. So now this is what you can, being the framework developer, sometimes you would see these methods are already available. So what you are going to do, you are going to simply override these methods when you're going to program, right? So in this approach, actually, what I'm going to do, we have to think about how we are going to specify the order of execution, because when we use this life cycle methods, the importance is the order of execution we can't change. So that's why we call it as life cycle. So in this approach, how I am going to implement a framework, or like being the framework developer, how I should insist for whoever the person is going to use my life cycle, how we can specify the order of execution there. So there is another important design pattern that is called the template method. So when we use the template method pattern, basically it says you have to specify the order of executing methods. We call it as it's under the structural pattern. So we can specify the order of execution. So how I can create my own life cycle? Let's say in here I'm going to extend my template. So I have to create a class. In this class, I'm going to create my own template. Now, these are the methods that I should expect in my implementation. So I have to use these methods as declarations. Therefore, I am going to make this method as abstract. Therefore, when I'm going to make this one abstract, that I have to definitely change this class into abstract. So I can specify, okay, I have another method. This is service. So I'm going to use that one, and there's another one. So this is, so I have to make all these methods abstract. So always abstract is non-access modifier. I have to keep that one after the access modifiers. Now in here you can see the public is an access modifier. Always you have to use that one after that. Okay, I have created my template. Now I have extended my template in the class. Now, yeah, I have some set of methods, right? Like this. So how I'm going to specify the order? That's another important thing. For that, you can do some small change. So I'm going to create my template. So in here, you can specify the order as like this. Let's say I can call first start method, then I can call the service method, then I can call stop method, right? Like this. Simple as that. So this is my order. There's another important thing. So anyone can extend this abstract class and anyone can change this order. So there would be a problem if someone's going to change, then the order of execution would be different. So being the framework developer, what I should do, I should eliminate doing that. So what I can simply make this one final, then no one can't override this method. Okay. So I have created the stuff and I have the order of execution. Now it's there. So now let's see how we can run this one. Let's say I have created my template. So I'm going to execute. And let's say you have your own life cycle. Now simply you can call your method. Right, like this. Okay. Now let's say I'm going to execute this one. So when you run the program, it executes according to the order, like start method first, service method, then stop method. If you want to change the order, let's say I want to change stop method first and service method, then start method, like this. If I change the order and if you run it, yeah, so it will change the order of execution. So that that's what the template method pattern, it says how you can implement correctly, and you can implement your own framework. For example, if I'm going to create my servlet class, if you are going to extend my template, let's say this is the now you are going to use the template framework in your class, and let's say I'm going to implement those methods. Now you can automatically implement all these methods in here. So then you can override as you wish. So for example, in servlet, you have init method, service method, and destroy method. So those things that you can do. Similarly, you can implement okay. So servlet start and servlet service, and you can use at last, you can implement any number of methods. Servlet stop, right? Okay, so now instead of this one, let's say if you use servlet, my servlet, now this is your class, and when you specify here, so what will happen when you run it? Let me run the program. Yeah, now assume being the, now I have my framework, it's over here. So you have your own lifecycle methods. So whatever the class that you're going to create, so you can add any business logic in your in these lifecycle methods, and you can do it. Okay, that's how you can simply use template method pattern for the lifecycle implementation. That's very easy, and you can do it even large scale that you are going to develop frameworks that will helpful. You can use it. Okay, in next video we'll see there are some tips and tricks, any design pattern that you can implement without memorizing anything. So I will teach you what are the tips and tricks behind it. Okay, thanks everyone. So we'll meet from another video another day. Okay, goodbye.